Now, moving on to the fucking NBA. George, I have to tip my hat off, although I don't have a hat to you, my friend. I know you are fucking...
Motherfucking Twitter was silent after that Heat win. There wasn't one person on there saying shit about LeBron James.
You know, I was on vacation, and at that time, I missed that whole Game 7. I'm glad I did.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now,
it.
all that was on Twitter was some fucking crickets, because not near one person was on that motherfucker saying shit about LeBron James.
I am not a Heat fan by no means, and I really like, you know, I'm a Lakers fan, and I love the San Antonio Spurs. I like them because I feel like they're a classy organization, and they have some classy players. And but you know what? LeBron got the job done, man.
Well,
when it counted in Game 7, he fucking manned up and put up 37 points, and he did what he had to do.
And to add on to what you just said, if anyone watched Game 7 and afterwards, the embrace between Popovich and Wade and Popovich and James shows how much respect even the opponents have for Greg Popovich. And that was good to see. And Greg Popovich just knew. I mean, he saw it. He doesn't, trust me, I don't think anyone there wanted to win any more or any less than Greg Popovich. That guy is out to win. That's why he coaches. That's why, in my opinion, like I said in our last time we talked about this, easily top 5 coach of all time at this point, in my opinion. And
I'm right with you, man. I would love to I see him coaching the Lakers or something. I know obviously will never happen, but I would love to see that. Another class act was Danny Green, because in the after party he went and congratulated all the Heat. And at the end of the day, it's a game.
Yeah, you want to know why Danny Green did that shit? He ought to be thanking everyone in fucking San Antonio for resurrecting his sorry ass career, because that motherfucker was on the bench dancing in Cleveland when LeBron was fucking carrying his ass, and the rest of them sorry bastards all through the playoffs into the finals then. So yeah, he should be real goddamn excited for hitting all those fucking threes.
Yeah, but you know what? He did it, dude. You can't take that away from the guy. I mean, he
showed up and showed out. But you know what? That motherfucker gets an also ring.
Yeah, he gets an also ring, and you know what the funny thing is people always talk about, and this is from somebody like George loves LeBron. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But you know what? When it mattered, Danny Green wasn't hitting threes and LeBron was making 37.
Right. And you know what? And if you go back, you have to look at, if you go back a couple years, probably 3 or 4, I sat there and said LeBron needs to work on his post game and his jump shot. And you know what LeBron did?
Yeah.
He beat him 1 game with his post and beat him 1 game with his jump shot. Because San Antonio said, you know what, LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh, you guys are gonna have to beat us with jumpers. And LeBron fucking pulled out the jumper and was knocking lights out in Game 7.
Now, since it's over, the thing is that Pat Riley wants the team's core to come back. He really wants that core to come back. And I know George Wright.
If he means everybody but Chris Bosh, I'm with him.
Right.
Fuck that sorry Bama.
But I'm going to tell you what. I will say this. I know Bosh, but Bosh was instrumental in you guys winning that championship because he was the man in Game 6.
Yeah.
He grabbed those 2 critical rebounds in the final seconds and he blocked fucking Tony Parker's shot.
It bothers me. It bothers me to see people like Chris Bosh with a championship ring knowing that Charles Barkley never got one.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes it's your supporting cast. I mean, it does. But Chris Bosh, he's around the right people. Barkley obviously wasn't around the right people, didn't have a lot of, a good supporting cast. And I mean, come on, you're playing with LeBron and Wade, Yeah,
well, sticking on the East Coast, but now going into the West Coast is Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers basically said bye-bye. I mean, people in Boston are just hating it. We'll get more into that. But they've just had a rough week for fucking sports.
Yeah, it was not a good week. But now, sticking with the Doc Rivers thing, like, he's a player's coach. He motivates. He says he gets the Boston guys to buy into this team first thing. I hope he goes and lights a fire under Griffin's ass and says, young man, you need to learn we need you to develop a jump shot.
Yeah, you need to be able to shoot from 12, 14 feet.
You need to be, because I'm going to tell you what, if he gets the ball outside the key, I'm going to be like, all right, take it. I'd let you shoot all day long, because that Bama couldn't throw the ball in the ocean off the fucking pier.
He does, man. And, I think Doc Rivers, he's a player's coach. I think a lot of guys, they were obviously trying to get the deal with Garnett done. That's not going to happen. But I tell you what interests me, and I think that still could happen, maybe it won't, is And they said because Paul Pierce is a lifetime Celtics guy. He's been with the Celtics.
They said he wants to retire and have his number up in the rafters. I'm like, yeah.
In the rafters. So, I mean, you know what? You still can get your numbers in the rafters if you gave him a couple championships because, but Pierce grew up in L.A. and he grew up a Lakers fan and everything like that. So, I mean, that when I first heard the talks about him possibly coming with Doc Rivers after Garnett wasn't going to go, I thought, okay, maybe this could materialize because he did grow up in L.A. and I think it's done for Boston. They're not going to do anything. They're like the Lakers. They're in a mess right now.
I'm going to tell you what, if they want to get something, trade Rondo. Trade Rondo, get a couple picks because that's your best shot. Because to me, I mean, right now, if you pick up Pierce or you pick up Garnett, you think you're those two players or that one player away from a championship.
Right. And now another thing that's good about the Clippers, too, is Alvin Gentry joined their coaching staff.
Yeah, I mean, they are stacking up a coaching staff.
Yeah, they really are. And now this is another thing that's interesting is Bledsoe is going to Orlando.
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense. That's the best deal you could get for him?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the Clippers are, so far with everything going on until we get to July 1st, they have been like ultra aggressive about trying to get shit done and just making moves.
I tell you what, they must know something I don't because until Chris Paul signed on that line, I wouldn't be doing shit with Bledsoe.
Right. Now, moving out of there, another hire, which I was happy to see, was Brian Shaw was hired by the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, man, got a motherfucking job.
Yep, and I like that. I like Brian Shaw. I think, he sat as an assistant with the Lakers for a while, and then he sat with the Indiana Pacers for a while.
He sat most of his NBA career right on the same bench.
Not really, because that motherfucker was part of the Shawshank Redemption, sure.
The Shawshank Redemption. I'm pretty sure he was a role player off the bench, wasn't he?
He actually in Orlando when he played alongside Shaq, he started and they didn't make it. They made it to the finals, but didn't win the finals. And then he came off the bench in L.A. obviously because it just they have a lot of depth.
Remember when I remember Shaw. I don't remember him in Orlando.
Yeah, and then they obviously called it the Shawshank Redemption because they redeemed themselves in L.A. and got a championship. But he is the coach of the Denver Nuggets. What do you think about that?
Interesting, because you're replacing the guy who won Coach of the Year, won 57 games, and got fired.
Yeah, it's a funny. Now in the NBA, you win games and get deep in the playoffs and you get fired. It's just
I
no
don't get
guarantee
it.
of it.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. I mean, with that kind of logic, you might as well trade LeBron James, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
And this is the thing. That's the thing I don't understand. I'm going to tell you who I think is a great coach is out there, and I would love to see him coaching the Lakers, Lionel Hollins. I would, the Memphis Grizzlies got rid of him, and I'm going to tell you what, to me, he did a great job with the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, they have some talent, but let me tell you something. They don't have the amount of talent that all these other teams have in the West. By no means.
They even traded away their number one scorer, which everyone thought was insane, and they still made it to the playoffs and went fairly deep.
And went fairly deep. And I mean, I think you got to credit a lot of that to Lionel Hollins coaching. And, that wasn't good enough. You're gone.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Lakers hired Dan Antonio, who's just, I don't want to talk about it.